Hey everybody, what is going on? It is Rick back here with the second half of March 2022 review video. Quite a bit to talk about in this video, so I'll probably keep the reviews a little more brief than normal. 12 movies in total were watched the second half of the month. Technically 11, but I forgot to include the first one that we're going to talk about in the first half, which I watched on the 15th of March, so that should be in the first half of the video. I forgot it, so we're going to dive right in talking about that movie, and that is The Birdcage, which stars Robin Williams and Nathan Lane, a comedy movie I had never seen prior to this viewing. We checked this out. I have it on Blu-ray, and that's how we watched it. I know there's a lot of love for this movie, and it was just something that it slipped through the cracks. I never watched. And I will say that Frank Azaria and Nathan Lane are the stars of the movie. Robin Williams is good, as always. But Nathan Lane and Hank Azaria are the standouts. And I do want to mention, too, because I'm not going to stop the video and restart like I did last time. I came home from work today. I'm recording these on June 27th. The cat has been acting crazy, been meowing since I got home, so you'll probably hear her. And they're also working on the apartment upstairs and using a saw and tools, so you may hear that. I apologize, but hopefully it'll be a very dull noise, fingers crossed. So, besides the three guys I mentioned already, the movie also stars Gene Hackman, Diane Wiest, Callista Flockhart, and Christine Baranski. They're all in the film as well. And like I said, my favorite parts of the movie, like when Robin Williams was trying to teach Nathan Lane how to act masculine, was really funny. And then the scene where Hank Azaria tries to walk in shoes was also really funny. Had me laughing out loud throughout the entire runtime. I gave The Birdcage a 4 out of 5. Really enjoyed that movie. Glad I finally sat down and checked it out. The next thing we watched was a Netflix movie, one of 4 Best Picture nominees at the time of watching it that we had not seen, and that is The Power of the Dog. I knew the movie was a Western, and it was a very slow movie from what I heard. 2 things that were immediate strikes for me going into it. I'm not a big fan of Western films. And slow burns can be a hit or miss thing, but a slow Western sounds like it is not up my alley. And this movie luckily has some great performances, specifically from Benedict Cumberbatch, but also Jesse Plemons is in it, Cody Smith-McPhee, and Kirsten Dunst. So the great performances are good. There's a lot of suspense in the movie. And the movie wasn't as rough to get through as I thought it might be. They build up to a climax, and the movie is pretty unpredictable where it's going to end up. And the movie ends up being pretty watchable, at least for me. Now, it's not something I see myself revisiting, but still worth definitely a one-time watch. I give The Power of the Dog a 3.5 out of 5. I think I'm going to lower my camera down, so let's do that. Let's see. Yes, I can show off my new Acclaimed shirt from AEW. So I'm a big fan of the Acclaimed. Anyway, next up was a movie. Didn't have a ton of expectations for this one. And it's a movie called Buffaloed, which happened to be on Hulu. Caught my eye because it stars Zoe Deutsch. And so I was just kind of browsing through Hulu looking for a shorter movie to watch. And so Zoe Deutsch is the main character in the movie. Basically grows up, she's a girl who's a hustler ever since she was a little kid, and she grows up and ends up working as a debt collector. She's amazing at it, but she gets involved with the wrong people. But the movie features all sorts of fun, like twists and turns. It was a funny movie, never quite sure where it was going to end up going, and it made for just a good time. The movie becomes a little bit too over the top at times, a little too non-believable, but overall really, really enjoyable. There were parts that made me laugh out loud. I really enjoyed it, and it's a movie that I've never heard anybody mention or talk about. Like I said, it was a fluke that I even found it on Hulu. I was just kind of scrolling through like shorter movies and it popped up, and Buffaloed was a fun watch. I gave Buffaloed a 3.5 out of 5. If you do yourselves a favor, not if you do yourselves a favor, you guys should do yourselves a favor and check out Buffaloed. I believe it is on physical media, so I might try to like lock down a copy on Blu-ray at some point. Not a rush. I would like to own it physically, but not in a rush to get it. Next up is a film, another Netflix movie that we checked out. This one stars Ryan Reynolds and is the movie The Adam Project, directed by Sean Levy, who also did Free Guy with Ryan Reynolds. So their pairing back together had me excited to check out The Adam Project. The trailer looked like it would be fun, and I was pretty excited about it. I will say that the movie is like a fun comedy, action, family drama movie. But it's nothing amazing, in my opinion. It doesn't, bring anything new to the table per se. It's, kind of a bunch of things you've seen before. But Ryan Reynolds is always enjoyable for the most part. If you're a fan of Ryan Reynolds, you're going to enjoy this movie. The person who plays Adam, which is Ryan Reynolds' character, is a grown-up. The kid who plays him as a young Adam is Walker Scobell. They had really fun chemistry together and did a really good job. Catherine Keener is in the movie too. I'm not going to spoil who she is, but a bit of a weird casting choice in my opinion. But overall, the movie's a fun watch, a one-time watch for me, and I would give it a 3 out of 5. So next up, I guess bruising through Hulu again, came across the movie Swimming for Gold, and the reason that one caught my eye is it stars Peyton List, who is on Cobra Kai. She plays, what's her name? I can't think of the character's name. Tori, got there. So, like I said, I was a fan of her from Cobra Kai, another short movie, and figured I'd check it out. And I could tell about 5 minutes into this movie that this was going to be a rough watch. So the movie is basically, it was made in Australia. It's an Australian production. And the acting in it is really terrible. The only person I recognized in it was Peyton List. And it was basically about, like, she was an Olympic swimmer and she kind of has a breakdown and she ends up going to Australia to teach swimming, but she just wants to sleep and be miserable, and the acting is really rough. The swimming in the movie isn't very good either, which is weird because it's a movie about swimming. Just a very predictable teen movie that's just eye-rollingly bad and just rough to sit through. I gave Swimming for Gold a 0.5 star out of 5 because unless you're the movie The Swing of Things, you get at least a 0.5 star for trying. Not The Swing of Things. You get nothing, and you'll like it. The next thing watched was All Summer's End on Hulu. Caught my eye because it stars Ty Sheridan and Caitlin Dever, two young actors who I enjoy a lot of the work they do. This was a movie that was shot in 2013 but did not release till 2018. It's a coming-of-age movie, but it really never gets going. It kind of like stalls in my opinion. The movie feels like a short film concept that gets stretched into like an 80-minute movie, and struggles to fill out that 80 minutes. The main character, Ty Sheridan, should be facing a lot of like inner turmoil, and we should be seeing that on screen, what he's going through and what he's dealing with it. And they just dropped the ball with that, and because of what the movie's about, basically, I don't even want to. It's been a while since I've seen it, like 3 months ago. I know that he hangs out with these two boys, and they kind of just like get into trouble, do random stuff around town. They end up doing a prank on Caitlin Dever's house. Dever, not Dever. And then her brother follows them, and he ends up getting in a car accident and dying. And then he befriends Caitlin Dever. And yeah, like I said, Ty Sheridan's character should be going through a lot more that should be depicted on screen, and it doesn't happen. I gave All Summer's End a 1.5 out of 5. The next thing we checked out was on the big screen using Regal Unlimited. Sorry. And that is X, which is the new Ty West film. Obviously, since seeing this, it's come out on Blu-ray. So I had only seen one of Ty West's previous movies because it was overhyped to me. The Innkeepers, I heard how fantastic it was. I personally was not a fan of that movie. I thought it was pretty rough to get through, pretty ordinary, pretty meh. I've heard good things about The House of the Devil. I just have not seen that. So I went into this movie pretty curious because the trailer made it look like it could be a lot of fun. Basically, the movie takes place in Texas, 1979, and it's about a group of young people, for the most part, who want to go to a farm and film an adult movie, and craziness occurs from there. So Ty West loves using practical effects, and in this movie I really enjoyed the use of the practical effects. I got vibes of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre from this movie, some like low budget horror elements for sure, and it's just the cinematography made it look really cool, but it also gave vibes like it could be like a vintage movie from the 70s that just never came out. Some enjoyable performances in the movie, including Kid Cudi, who's in the film, as well as Mia Goth, who is the lead in the movie. She's excellent. Jenna Ortega seems to be working on every possible horror movie or horror TV show that there is. She's been in 3 2022 horror films now, including Scream. She's going to be Wednesday Addams in the upcoming Addams Family TV show. And she's enjoyable in X as well. A fairly minor part for her, but like I said, some of the stuff she's been in, smaller roles. Scream, obviously, she was pretty much the main character. But some gnarly kill scenes in this movie that really made it a fun watch. The second half of the movie specifically is a really good time, and X was just a fun horror movie, a slasher film. So I gave X a 3.5 out of 5. Check that one out if you have not done so. Definitely a good movie, especially if you're into slasher films. The next thing we're going to talk about is a movie that was recommended by J2H Jacob quite a while ago. He had said for me to check it out. It wasn't anything amazing, but he said it was definitely an interesting watch, and that is The Silencing, which I checked out on Amazon Prime. I think you talked about it like a year and a half ago. I want to say during 2020, when stuff was going on, he had suggested it. Basically a mystery suspense movie that had some really good twists was the way it was presented to me. I don't think anybody necessarily puts in a noteworthy or special performance in the movie, but I will say that it had me intrigued, wasn't sure where the movie was going. Kind of curious where it was going to end up, and so that is always good for a mystery thriller. Where's this movie going to go? What are they going to do? Where's it going to end up? And it was an enjoyable watch for that respect. Especially the aspect of revenge seems to be what keeps the movie moving. And I gave The Silencing a 2.5 out of 5. Definitely worth checking out, a one-time watch, another short movie. I think I had a lot of small time periods where instead of watching a show, I decided I would watch some movies. That's what it seems like looking through this list. The next thing we checked out was a movie we watched with RJ. Said he wanted to see it, and that is Vegas Vacation, a movie that I've seen numerous times. Wanted to show RJ. Not quite as good as Christmas Vacation or the original Vacation, in my opinion. Definitely better than the remake or the reboot in 2015, as well as European, in my opinion. Vegas Vacation is just a fun time. It's rated PG, so that's why I had no issue showing it to RJ. He thought it was funny. Got me pumped to go on vacation because we watched that, like I said, the end of March, and we were getting ready to go to Las Vegas in California, which made me more excited to watch it, even though the stuff that happens in there isn't necessarily realistic, like the one casino that Eddie and Clark go to, where they're playing heads or tails and pick a number between 1 and 10 and that kind of stuff. But Vegas Vacation, a fun watch as always. For some reason, I don't have a rating on my paper, but I think, and I'm going to go with my gut, I would give Vegas Vacation a 3 out of 5. Hopefully, I am right about that. I'm pretty sure that's what I would give it. 3 or 3.5, probably a 3. So, the next thing we saw was in the films, in the movie theater, and using Regal Unlimited, and that is the movie called The Lost City, which stars Channing Tatum, Sandra Bullock, Daniel Radcliffe, as well as Brad Pitt. When I saw the trailers, it looked like this movie had the potential to be a lot of fun. I got Romancing the Stone, Jewel of the Nile vibes from the trailer, and that's pretty much exactly what we got here. Lots of actors that I enjoy, and the movie offers a fun mix of like action, adventure, humor, romance, and it was just a fun time at the movies. Nothing great. Not something I need to go buy on physical media or that I feel like is really rewatchable. But overall, man, they have to be working upstairs when I'm recording. Some of it is a bit eye-rolling and predictable, eye-rollingly bad and predictable. But overall, a fun time. Plus, Daniel Radcliffe as a villain in the movie is a good time. So, The Lost City gets a 3 out of 5 for me. Next thing I checked out was Coming to America, the original, not the sequel. We'll talk about that in a minute. Spoiler. And obviously, this is a movie that is quite popular. Not on the same level as Beverly Hills Cop or Trading Places for me, which are movies that I rewatched quite a bit growing up, and I still watch. I don't want to say Trading Places. I usually try to watch once a year. Usually, it's one of my favorite movies, especially comedies of all time. So I'd actually only seen Coming to America once before seeing it this time, and wanted to revisit it so I could be fresh to go into the sequel. And what I really enjoy is the first 25 minutes of the film do such a great job setting up the premise and the characters, and the movie quality actually improves from there. So the first 25 minutes, you're getting to know everybody, and the humor kind of ramps up, you know, basically being a person thrown into a new environment and adapting to that environment. The amount of roles that both Arsenio Hall and Eddie Murphy play in the movie is pretty mind-blowing. Lots of different makeup and characters that they're playing. Lots of fun, lots of great laughs. The throwback to the Trading Places characters of, you know, Mortimer and Randolph the Dukes, so much fun. You know, saying that they're back is just a really great tie-in to Trading Places. Coming to America, it's funny. It's a funny movie. Like I said, doesn't quite line up with Trading Places and Beverly Hills Cops movies for me, but still a fun time. I gave Coming to America, the original, 3.5 out of 5. And then the last thing I watched in the month of March was Coming to America, the sequel, on Amazon Prime. Like I said, I heard very, very mixed things going into the movie, so very low expectations going in. Really, really, really unsure what to expect going into the movie. In the first 20 minutes, saw a lot of familiar faces from the original, lots of characters back in this movie. Which is funny because like the old guys at the barbershop were still in the movie, even though they were super old in the original. And then there was a Trading Places reference in this, which was really fun. Somebody maybe related to the Dukes who aren't around anymore. And, you know, the barbershop scene is involved in this movie too, which is just like, it was so much fun to see. Jermaine Fowler, who plays the lead essentially in this movie, I was familiar with his work from the show Crashing from HBO and Superior Donuts, which used to be on CBS. I enjoy his work, so seeing him as a main character, I was still on board with that. And the story is kind of very similar to the original, except it's reversed, where Jermaine Fowler's character he's in Zamunda now, instead of going to, Queens. So, so fish out of water stuff. But the movie really, really excels and is at its best when Akeem and Semi go back to New York. That's the best stuff in the movie. And also when Tracy Morgan and Leslie Jones go to Zamunda, that is when the movie is at its peak and funny. But I actually enjoyed the movie quite a bit. I thought it was a fun time. On par with the original, just probably a step below the original for me. So I gave Coming to America a 3 out of 5. So that is everything that I watched in the month of March, this being the second half of the month. I got done that impressively, like 20 minutes, which is good for 12 movies. Like I said, kept the description, the reviews brief. I don't need to go long-winded. If you guys want to see my full thoughts, you can always check out my letterbox. The link is down below. But the part of the month where you guys, I think this is the thing you guys like the best, at least from what I've heard, is time for the surprise of the month and hot trash of the month. So like I said, 19 movies in total watched in the month of March. And for the surprise of the month and for hot trash of the month, both were talked about in this video. So surprise of the month goes to the Zoe Deutsch movie, Buffaloed. Like I said, went in, had no expectations, had never even seen a trailer about it. And it was just a fun movie. Like, Zoe Deutsch is so good in this movie. I highly recommend checking it out. Like I said, I watched it on Hulu. I would assume it's still on there. If not, it is available on physical media on Blu-ray. So get your hands on it. I think it is definitely worth a watch. It was a fun time. And then hot trash of the month, I'm sure you guys can guess it. It got the beloved half-star review, and that is Swimming for Gold. Paint list. I'm glad you found Cobra Kai, because this movie was not good. It was tough to get through. So that is it, guys. That is everything I watched in March. Hot trash, the surprise of the month. Be sure to check out down in the description box. You can find links to all my socials, as well as my eBay store link, Amazon wishlist, Blu-ray.com profile, letterbox, which I mentioned earlier, where I rate and review all the movies that I watch. So thank you for watching, and until next time, who's down to movie?